Are you doing it or am I doing it?
I thought I was gonna do it.
Are you gonna?
I thought.
Yeah,
it was
you
my-
can do it if you want.
my turn.
No, you go ahead. Like,
Okay.
no, you go ahead and do it like you always do. It's like fine.
Jesus
I don't even
Christ.
care.
Okay, fine. You fucking do it then. It's fine.
Fine. All right.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, Lucas, can you do the intro?
Yeah, what's up, buds? And welcome to a new episode of Earbuds Fresh Drops, where two buds talk about one brand new album for hopefully less time than our full-length episodes take. We are your hosts, Ash, really Hanrahan, and Lucas, that third thing in Drakov's. And today, Ash, we are talking about a new record that, spoiler alert, I liked a lot, that we literally just listened to.
Wow.
Called Louie by, an underground DJ, not very well known. Like, I don't know how much he's really done at this point. Kenny fucking
right.
Beats.
Yeah, Kenny Beats is a guy. He's gotten around a little bit.
He seems to be a name.
He seems to be a name, and his last name seems to be a thing he does.
Yeah, he has that.
Which is interesting.
He has that tag or whatever. That Kenny, right? No, he doesn't. Yeah.
Whoa, Kenny.
Whoa, Kenny. There you go. Yeah, so you figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. This it's funny that you bring that up because I know that specifically from Unlocked, the album that Kenny did with Denzel Curry, and
It's
fucking love that album.
I was honestly expecting him to put his tag in every single one of these songs too.
It seems like it would have been done in poor taste. Kenny dedicated this to his pops, and actually the album opens up with what sounds like a recording of his dad, like kind of talking about how he got his nickname, Louie, which is the name of the album, and it was like a really beautiful way to start this record.
Yeah.
Like it reminded me yesterday, whenever we were recording this, yesterday I was watching that Foo Fighters memorial concert that they put on for Taylor Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a moment that Taylor's son came out to play My Hero with them on stage. Fucking killed it.
Man.
Dude, he absolutely destroyed it. It was so beautiful and so sad, and I fucking started bawling.
What
watching it.
was he playing?
He was playing drums. Sorry, he came out to play drums.
Mm.
And he killed it, dude. And that's like such a great drum song, you know?
Right.
And it's my favorite Foo Fighters song. So I was just watching this and thinking, like, man, it's so sad, but it's really cool how music can be like therapy for people. And it sounds like that's kind of what this album was. And it was really chill and a really beautiful record, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's to say it's an instrumental record might be, it's gonna give you the wrong idea because there are vocals splayed throughout this entire record.
Yes.
Generally making up the landscape of each song.
Dude, it was interesting. Like the way that the vocals were used was really interesting. We kept talking about it as we were listening to the album. Like it's like it was just kind of like vocal scatting at times.
It was a lot of like sampling and cutting,
A lot of sampling,
and
a lot of word salad kind of stuff where they're not really saying anything. Lots of oohs and ahs and just holding out notes.
And at first we were like, well, why doesn't he? It was like, I don't understand having features and not crediting them on the songs. I understand for this one. It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there are legitimately some songs that don't have credits for the vocal parts.
And there are definitely
surprising.
some famous rappers on here that kind of make appearances. There's like Slow Tie.
There's some big names.
Vince Staples.
Yeah. JPEG Mafia.
Yeah, but they don't really. They might get one microverse, and that's about the most they get.
And it'd be hard to even call it a verse.
Yeah, because it's kind of like it's really they don't really deliver many lines, but it's kind of more of an attitude, I guess.
Yeah, but it's not even like a slight or criticism on it at all, because I loved how how Kenny used all the features on this record. Like, I just think it was like, it was just such a really cool, unique way to use features, and I just like I give Kenny a lot of credit for doing it, and I give a lot of the features and the guest stars on the album, guest musicians, like a lot of credit too for just kind of sounding. It sounded like they gave Kenny exactly what he wanted. You know?
Yeah, I can imagine some of the people featured on here might be mad if they didn't know what Kenny was doing, you know?
He must have asked them for exactly what they did.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I can only imagine.
Yeah, and but it was perfect because it sort of does feel like this really chill, slower, like very stony, like Sunday afternoon beach vibe to the whole record. And
But usually with a kind of a rap beat or trap beat behind it.
100% for sure. Like those really muffled like kicks and snares on most of the songs was a really cool touch. Like really liked all the production on this album. Like it just kind of had this like dreamy feel to it, and I wonder if a lot of the samples seem to be like funk songs and soul songs from like the 70s and 80s, and maybe some like jazz and prog jazz type of stuff.
Yeah.
But I wonder if like all that was Kenny's dad's favorite music, you know, or some of his like favorite artists that he kind of, or era of music, you know, that he sampled for this album, because it was just so chill, like straight up like chill lo-fi music to fucking like read a manga to or whatever, and
to read a map to
map to, yeah. And it was just really interesting to me, not at all what I expected, but exactly what I wanted to hear right now, but just not what I expected, because everything else I've heard from Kenny, which was the Unlocked record, is super hype for the most part, super fucking energetic.
Kenny has proven time and time again to be a very diverse producer. You know, on the Cave, I always thought he kind of made these generic beats because he did them really quick, right? And he was just, it's all about the rapper.
It's hard to criticize the beats that he made on the Cave. Like, he was literally writing those beats, talking for like 30 minutes before they recorded the song. Like, he's literally slapdash throwing shit together, and way better than what most people could do at that speed.
But even then, like, I really loved Unlocked, but every other kind of record he worked on, every other beat I heard from him, I wasn't super sold on like him. Whatever on. I heard that Key record, and it was I heard that Rico Nasty record was pretty sick.
Pretty good. Pretty damn good. Did he do all of Anger Management?
I think he did.
Yeah, that was a fucking awesome EP, I think, is what it is.
But he's really strutting his chops. I didn't know. It seems like his main style is this vocal cutting, and like this like sample, like glitching almost.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like you were getting annoyed while we were listening to the album, because at one point you said, "Dude, it's like he won't let anyone finish their sentence," like all of the vocals, and that's such a great way to put it. It really does feel like a lot of the vocals are like stunted at one point and just cut off, and.
And honestly, I'm about it. I thought it was a kind of cool thing to do. Like
no complaints.
Yeah, it's just an interesting. I've never seen vocals or rappers used in this way on any record.
Yeah, and I don't blame on some of the songs where they don't credit who the vocalists are. I kind of don't blame whoever the vocalist is for not demanding credit, because when you're going like ooh wee ooh ah, you know,
sure.
Ting tang, wada wada, bing bang, you know, like
Dijon was doing a lot of that,
right? You know, no, honestly, I don't blame them for not wanting credit, and that's not in a slight at all either. It's just kind of like, dude, whatever, yeah, fine, I'll put a vocal part down for you real quick, like not a big deal. I don't need money from this, you know, like whatever money you make from it. But
and then
I thought it was sweet that all of, you know, a lot of what I'm sure are his friends came onto the record and, you know, just gave him something.
It seems like throughout the record, there's a lot of what seem to be candid moments where someone's just in the studio listening to like the beat you just listened to, and they're like, "Oh yeah, dude, that fucking slaps," and like.
Yeah, whatever the one that JPEG Mafia was on, like at the end, he was just like, "No, you can't show this to anyone. Like you can't show that beat to any rapper. Just like kind of
made it away." Made it like a cool atmosphere, you know, and that like it's
very chill.
I'd say it's a very positive record. It's the track listing. It's nearly nonstop between songs. You don't really get. It's not like you need a break or anything. It's not abrasive in any possible term of the word, but it's just like it just goes these 2 minute 3 minute long songs,
but dude,
one after the other.
Yeah, I'm here for that too though, because it had such a consistent energy throughout the whole record until like maybe the last like one or two songs on the album like ended on a completely different vibe.
Yeah, right.
But I loved that all the songs just kind of like went into the next one immediately, and there was no real like ceremony to it at all. And I think like the detriment of this record is that there might not be. I loved every beat on this album, but they're all similar vibes and the same kind of instrumentation and sample work and stuff for the most part, that it's like they do blend in together. Like there aren't a lot of standout beats, but it was like literally listening to this album, which we've only heard once. Like we literally just heard it once just now and are talking about it. Like going through the whole thing, every song, like how many times did I say like, oh man, I love this, and then the next song would start, oh, I love this, you know, like. And that's it's I'm gonna go back and I can listen to this album fucking every day for the next week and not get tired of it.
There are a lot of consistent and recurring tropes throughout this record.
Yes.
The vocal sampling is
all the vocal samples.
Like every single song is the same. He has a lot of favorite synths. He kind of has a go-to tempo for most of the songs and like kind of go-to beats, but there aren't really a lot of standout tracks, but it's just a vibe. The whole album, he just gets this vibe.
Yeah, definitely some standout tracks for me though.
Well, let's talk about those. Like,
you know, in terms of like while we're listening to it, it was easy for me to be like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I love this one a lot. And you know, we call them our choice nugs, our two favorite songs. We always pick our two favorite songs on the record.
Why do we call them our choice nugs?
Because I am a stoner, and choice nugs are the best buds in the bag of weed that you got. And you always save the choice nugs, the biggest nugs, for the end. You always smoke the little ones first. So choice nugs are like my two favorite. And then, but we also love to mention our honorable mentions.
Our honorable mentions.
Mentions, which I have a lot. Pretty much all the songs are honorable mentions.
Okay, well, you got to narrow it down from
if I was going to read it off, it would be literally almost every single song. So yeah, I loved this entire record. So blanket statement, all of them are fucking some of my favorites, but my two absolute favorites, and these were not hard for me to pick. The first one was Still, man.
Still. Yeah.
That fucking like fucking super chill female background vocals going on throughout the whole thing, and it just has this like
it's got a kind of underwater feel to it the whole time.
Super like bouncy and really chill, and just like the melody that the vocalists are doing and their delivery is just super emotional.
It's all, there are a lot of gospel type choirs throughout this whole album. That's another recurring thing I noticed, but it's done really well in this song. It almost sounds like a Kanye beat at times, which I feel like is reductive, but
it is, and it doesn't give it credit because it's better than a Kanye beat I've heard for several albums at this point. Like this is a great beat, really soulful. Reminds me of like a late 90s like Bad Boy type production, like something that Diddy would have done back in the late 90s, but it's probably because it kind of reminds me of that like every step you take, every move you make. Tell me you know that song.
I know that song, but I don't.
No, not the Police one. The one that with fucking Puff Daddy and Faith Evans. After B.I.G. died. That's what Still reminds me of.
And Vince is on this one. Vince Staples. He has a very iconic voice. I think that might have been why he chose some of these features. Slow Tie, Vince Staples.
Yeah.
Fucking JPEG Mafia. All have very iconic deliveries and voices.
Yeah.
And again, not really a verse or anything in this song, but just kind of little iterations,
kind of ad-libs, some ad-libs jumping in every now and then. Yeah,
and then he's
kind of just offering his voice as just a element in the music, and that's it. Yeah, and I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Well, that's great, man.
That's great.
That's great. You know what? That's good for you.
Fucking great.
Maybe not one of the best songs on the album.
Okay, wow.
I have a couple honorable mentions that are real.
I guess there's a couple that I could call out as well.
Really, I thought was a great song. Drop 10
Yeah, that kind of Afrobeat drums to it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
Um,
that's a great track.
but
And the bass part was awesome too.
my first nug, you probably would already know this. It's gonna be "So They Say." I
So
thought it
they
was a
say.
really dope song. It had a really cool beat that I enjoyed. I think it's one of the few acoustic drums on the album.
I couldn't tell. Yeah, I know for sure there was samples, which I think might have been the horns from a song called El Touchy by an
Oh,
artist called Louie. But which makes sense, right? Like Louie is the name of the album. But yeah, really cool sample on that song. I loved the production of the kick, like that super punchy kick, and then that the
yeah.
muffled, the tight, like 311 style, almost like muffled snare.
It's like extremely tight and
Fucking
extremely dampened.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
it's
yeah,
fucking. It's like a drum set you would hear on the street.
yeah,
You
right.
know.
Just like it's you know, it sounded great to begin with, and he made
Yeah.
it sound like
And
super affected and kind of shitty, and it was awesome
and it's got these and it's real funky. It's real groovy. I'd say it's one of the more energetic songs on the record.
for sure.
And that's why it's one of my favorites.
Well, it deserves to be someone's, man. I would say, like, before I get into my second favorite, a couple of honorable mentions I can call out is I loved Moir. I think is how you pronounce it, Moir.
Mwah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounded like an Automator, like Deltron 3030 type
Well, real quick,
futuristic beat. Is that
that's
one of
my
your?
that's my second nug.
Oh, dude, fucking
Yeah.
awesome beat, man.
Oh, so cool. It's like kind of got this weird glitched up horn that's kind of taking the lead, or like a
Yeah.
flute or a
Very
cello.
futuristic sounding, like spacey futuristic. Yeah, dude, it literally the synth was going from sounding like a really affected muffled cello to me to like a really affected muffled flute or oboe or something. But there was a lot
Yeah.
of really muffle affected X on this whole album.
And
But this one was really cool.
yeah, it's a really chill, groovy, kind of downplayed song. I think.
Yeah.
Really cool vibe. It was my second nug.
Nice. Yeah, man. I would say my honorable mentions other than Moir, I think it would be Rotten. Rotten was really super duper fucking duper super chill.
Yeah.
I love Nami's voice on it. It sounded really really beautiful, and all the extra stuff that Kenny did around Nami's voice was really cool too. Like all these like extra kind of flourishy synths, and it sounded like vocal samples. He's like
Yeah.
kind of like going on
Yeah.
around the background. Super cool. But my favorite song I think on the record is the one that sounds like no other song on this album, and it's the last track, Hot Hand.
Yep,
That
that's what I was
sounded
thinking.
like Radiohead or Tom York or some shit to me. Like that percussion, that super persistent percussion, and that just like that music, that there's so much going on and they just don't change and they
Yeah.
don't stop. It just has this kind of like really anxious energy, like weirdly aggressive energy to it.
It it sounds almost like Kenny was just walking around and he saw these people performing on the street and he just like got it on, like videotaped it or just like got the
Yeah.
audio or something and then made a song around it. 'Cause
Really cool like acoustic guitar work.
Yeah, and that tom sounds, I mean, extremely Tommy.
Good one.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
it's you always know I'm trying to like pick out fretless bass on anything that we're listening to,
Yep.
and that bass
Yep.
sounded super
Heavy.
without fret.
Super bass.
The whole song just had such a different emotion to it than the rest of the tracks, like sort of aggressive and angry and like chaotic at times, and like tribal and strong and just fucking sick, dude. It got really anxious and big and loud for a moment there, and I just really liked the way to end that. That was such a weird way to end the album, and I loved it.
I think something it did that also happens a lot on this album. It sounds like it was kind of almost a jam track.
Yeah. A lot of these songs just sound like bops and jams, and just kind of
It's like kind of a circle of musicians, like mostly vocalists and like percussionists or something, and just kind of jamming out, just trying to get a cool sound.
Someone on the electric piano kind of like following along.
Yeah, right.
With the vocalist just being like, ooh, what are y'all doing? Oh, A minor 7th G? Oh.
Oh, I can do that.
Oh, that's nice. All right, well, we also like to rate every album that we listen to, and I kind of want to hear what your rating is of this record, man. 0 to 10, decimal points allowed, purely subjective enjoyment of that you had with this record. What would you rate it?
How many decimal points can we have again?
As many as you'd like. You know, we've done some ridiculous shit. We've done some pi-esque ratings before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, for this one, I first listen over. It's an interesting album. It's a lot more interesting than I thought it'd be. I kind of thought it would be. When I heard Kenny Beats made an album, I assumed it was going to be kind of basic, a lot of features.
Yeah.
A lot of the dudes we saw in the cave, and it was absolutely nothing like that. It's a lot more heartfelt. It's a lot more patient, a lot more moody, a lot more introspective. It's got a lot of great beats that you could rap on if you want to do that. It's also got a lot of great beats you could study to, a lot of great beats that you could just kind of chill to.
I told you it reminded me of like Alchemist's Rapper's Best Friend albums that he just puts out 13 beats and he's like, here you go, rap over this shit. Yeah, it did feel that way.
And so it definitely threw me for a loop. I'll be coming back to this one, though probably not for any particular song or anything like that. It's not like there were many big game-breaking moments or anything.
No.
But this is a cool record to put on. No one's going to be adverse to it. So I'm going to give it like a 7.0. Oh.
What would you rate it?
How many decimal points can we have again?
As many as you'd like. You know, we've done some ridiculous shit. We've done some pi-esque ratings. You asked how many decimal points can we use?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty
I understand what you asked
now.
That. Okay, yeah, I should have...
Probably listen.
I should have known.
I think you should try that out.
Yeah, I should try listening to you. Yeah. Okay. My rating is going to be higher.
Yes. I imagine so.
I took a big ol' rip of Jack the Ripper from No Till Kings before we listened to this album. It put me in a great headspace. I really loved this record. I also did not know what to expect at all. I thought it was going to be really hype. I definitely didn't think it was going to be basic. I thought it was going to be just hype and without knowing that this album was dedicated to his dad. I had no idea about that. So once I learned that and the first two songs played, I was like, I understand where we're going to be. This is the exact pace that I wanted right now. I thought every song was a great beat. Like you said, there's not a lot of standout moments on this album, but it's such an easy, cool 33 minutes. You put it on, it comes and goes without a hitch, dude.
It really is something that just kind of like it's just gonna come and go. It's gonna be a brief moment in your life. You know?
Yeah, but it's gonna be a moment that I'm gonna revisit all the time, dude. This is such a great like smoking session record. This is a great like you put this on, you start rolling your joint, rolling your blunt, or breaking up your weed, or loading your vape, or whatever, and it's perfect. It lasts for the whole session. You're in and out, and it's super chill. I liked it a lot, man. I liked all the features. I like the way they use the features. Everything that we've already said. So I'm gonna give it a fucking solid 8.7.
Holy shit.
8.7.
You're high as fuck, dude.
I'm really high, and I really liked this, man. I really liked this. It almost reminded me of like Dirty Art Club or something of that vein. Just really chill electronic music that had just enough soul and funk and like stank to it that it didn't feel boring.
Yeah.
And it was really good, man. 8.7. Choke on it, Ash.
All right, well, thank you all for listening to this episode. If you choked on it, go ahead and comment. If you didn't, go ahead and do a like.
Yes.
You can check us out on YouTube or on Instagram at EBPcast. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts.
Absolutely.
We've got some links below if you don't want to do the.
We
if
got
you don't
links.
wanna type anything.
Let's go ahead and throw a link to this album on Spotify in the description as well. We'll share it. We'll link it. We'll link it for people to listen to it.
I don't like
it
free
deserves
publicity.
the plays. It deserves the plays. Let's help Kenny out with our 10 views that this video is going to get.
We're giving him the bump after
We're
all.
giving him the 10 view bump
Yeah.
right now. Like, you're welcome. That's like 0.2 cents that we're about to get you in plays, bro.
What
But
do
yeah,
y'all
give us-
think? Is this
yeah.
like? I don't think anyone could have expected this from Kenny. But are you disappointed at all? Do you kind of wish he did something a little more expected? Do you wish the rappers could have had a little more time on each song? Do you like how he used the vocals? Tell us what y'all think.
Are you pleasantly surprised by what you heard on this? Like I am, man. Like Ash said, give us a like, subscribe to our YouTube. We have tons of episodes in our back catalog talking about a bunch of different albums and artists and genres of music. We're going to have chit chats coming out soon, which are just moments of just conversations that me and Ash have about music, and we're going to just start recording them. And it's everything from music in wrestling to movie soundtracks to video games and so much other stuff. We'll be doing tier lists and shit. Keep a lookout for those. We have full-length episodes coming out every single Monday of what we call our classic episodes. We talk about an album that at least one of us considers a classic. So
Classic
there's that
catches,
too.
baby.
Classic catches. And keep a lookout for Patreon that might be coming out soon. We're going to set up a Patreon with some really exclusive content, some cool shit. We're doing a whole bunch of stuff. Stick around and pay attention. And thank you so much for watching and listening. Ash, what would you rate this episode?
I'm gonna rate this episode, baby, a fucking 4 vowels out of 5.
I'm going to, I don't know what to think of your ratings of the episodes anymore. So I'm going to bow out.
Maybe you should stop asking then.
I'm going to bow out. This
All
was
right.
good.
Lucas, this was good. Bye, 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 bye.